I hope you all are having a wonderful day today. Um, it is our time for our Ready to Love recap. Ready to Love recap. So, if you are on, we are going to be talking about this season of Ready to Love, which y'all know is, yeah, it's been real interesting this season. So if you know anybody that has been watching Ready to Love, is a Ready to Love fan, I want you to share this with them. We're going to chop everything up from last Friday's show, the last episode, episode number 7. All things Ready to Love. If you've been enjoying this season, let me know in the comments. It's different than the other seasons, but the same drama. So it's been really, really, really interesting. So I'm excited to jump into this particular episode because the episode is entitled Sticky Situations, y'all. And this episode was tricky. They should have called it tricky situations instead of sticky situations. It was really, really different and it was unexpected for me. Now, the trailer from week before last, you could kind of see that there was going to be some little curveballs that they threw at us, but I wasn't ready for a lot of the stuff that happened on the last episode. And so I want to just kind of jump in and walk through some of the things that we saw on episode 7. And so I'm just going to bring up all of the players that we are dealing with on this episode. And so you see, I still have the trio here. Let me move this a little bit over. So there, we're talking about this trio that's been pretty much together the beginning of the series, the beginning of this season. And that's Adriana, Calfani, and Denise. They are still very much in this little whatever they have going on. And if you saw the last episode, the interesting thing is Denise almost kind of feels like Calfani is like her man, like they're in this exclusive kind of relationship, even when they're really not yet. Calfani is still experimenting and he seems to be kind of into Adriana. Now, if you remember Adriana and Rasheed hit it off really, really good. And even Adriana said that Rasheed was basically her man and y'all like leave him alone because he's mine. But she's starting to really feel Calfani, who Denise has declared ownership of. So it's really interesting to watch this dynamic. It's interesting to see it play out, number one. Also, it's interesting to see personalities and how people would respond outside of this quote unquote experiment, outside of this, concentrated environment, because Denise shows who she is. Calfani and Adriana are outside. They're kind of talking and chatting it up. And of course, Adriana, she's laying on, Calfani's chest. And Denise walks by and she is not a happy camper, like at all. And she doesn't even play it off. How you would see somebody that you were interested in and somebody else is talking to them. You try to kind of play it off like you weren't bothered. She's like bothered and she wants them to know she's bothered. She especially wants Calfani to know she is bothered by him being just in her presence. And remember, I told y'all this is the problem that I would have with this, especially when you're initially dating someone and you're not in an exclusive relationship. You pretty much know that person is dating someone else. The only difference is you don't have to see it. You don't have to watch them date in front of you. In this environment, you have to see that the person that you like, the person that you're interested in, maybe the person that you are, quote unquote, as Denise says it, catching feelings for, you have to see them with somebody else. And you got to kind of be okay with that because that's what you signed up for. That's my whole problem with it, is you signed up for this. And I get it. You may sign up for it, and then when you get into it, you might think, well, ooh, I thought I could handle this. I thought my ego would be okay with this, but this is kind of bothering me a little bit. And that's where Denise is. She has a little hissy fit because they are, coupled up on this couch and they are having fun. And she can tell Calfani is really feeling Adriana, and she don't appreciate that like very much at all. So he has to actually go to Denise's room after and kind of calm her down and let her know, like, this is the process. If you're talking to somebody, I'm not going to interrupt you, and I'm not going to, try to break that up. And he's basically telling her, I expect the same, that when I'm trying to get to know somebody, because we aren't exclusive, I expect there to be, that respect. And if we have what you think we have, what you say we have, if you are confident, it doesn't matter who I'm with, because the relationship that we have can be touched. And so that's what he's saying to her. And so that whole interesting dynamic is funny to me. But I want to know from you all that are watching live and those that will watch this later, I want to know what you feel about this trio. Number one, do you think Adriana is really into Calfani? Because Denise doesn't feel like Adriana really likes Calfani. She thinks just Adriana is playing with him just to bother with her. But like, if you're really looking for love, you're not here to play. You're not here I'm not here to get under your skin. Like, I'm trying to be with whoever I really, really like. So do you think that Adriana likes Calfani and that they would make a better connection? Or do you think that Calfani and Denise actually belong together? Like, they are meant to be a couple. I want to know how you all feel about that. So let me know in the comments how you are feeling about that particular couple. And so I'm going to jump on through the next little trio, or a next little situationship that we have. And that is Winter, Anthony, and now look who's popping up again, Denise. Now, Denise wants Calfani just to be sitting around twiddling his thumbs and thinking about, her, while she still has, like, in the back of her mind. Now, mind you, it's way, way in the back of her mind. But in the back of her mind, she has Anthony back there. Because remember, before the last episode, the two people that Denise took on the date with her friend was Calfani and Anthony. So you have options, but he can't have options. So that's something that you need to be thinking about. Why can't Calfani have options if you have options? Are we going to be fair here? So Winter and Anthony go for this little stroll. They're talking about their life, and they really, really have a moment of transparency where Winter starts talking about her previous marriage and how 3 weeks, y'all, 3 weeks into her marriage, her husband cheats on her, and how that has, I guess, caused her to have so many walls up and so much distrust, and she's never really felt like she could be in a relationship and rest and feel safe because of how her marriage started out. And it was interesting to see how Anthony really listened to her and let her explain or talk through. So it's been really interesting to hear their stories unravel as they go on this journey, and how I am enjoying how open that they are being, both the women and the men, how open they are being in their relationships. Now, and Anthony has been kind of like on this like little island. He hasn't been getting a whole lot of attention from the women. And so you see him sparingly throughout the episodes. And so we kind of wonder, does Winter really like Anthony, or is Anthony, is she doing to Anthony what Denise is doing to Anthony? Like, you're just my fallback guy, just in case the person that I really want that doesn't work out with, or that person chooses someone else. So I kind of feel bad for Anthony, because for me, he seems like he's this spare, person, he's been friend zoned, but we want to keep you here just in case the persons that we really like don't like us as much, or it doesn't work out. We find out there's something about him that we don't like. So I kind of feel sorry for Anthony. Maybe not feel sorry for Anthony, but I don't think he's getting like fair shake. I don't think he's giving, they're giving him the props because he seems like such a genuinely nice guy. And maybe that's it. Maybe that's why they're overlooking him. He just seems like the guy next door, the steady, consistent guy. Maybe he may not be as flashy as the other guys. Maybe he may not be as forward and aggressive as the other men are. But to me, it doesn't seem like the women are giving him as much time as the other men, and that could just be editing on Owen's part. Maybe it's in the editing, and maybe he is actually getting more time. So I'll be interested to see if either of these ladies are really interested in Anthony, or if he's just the big brother that they find comforting, and they are comfortable with. And so let's move right along to these three: Rasheed, Simone, and Alex. Now, I'm going to tell y'all, Rasheed was on the come up this week. He was on the come up this week because before now, all we really had seen or heard of Rasheed is with Adriana. They hit it off initially. They knew each other before the show. And so it was almost like a given that Rasheed and Adriana would be together. But then Adriana started feeling Calfani. And so Rasheed was thinking to himself, well, hey, if you are going to be out here exploring your options, a brother got options too. And so it was interesting because Simone actually approached Rasheed and asked him to take her out. So y'all let me know in the comments, would you ever do that? Like if you, and let's say you're in this situation. So this situation is totally different than it would be perhaps in real life. But would you feel comfortable asking a guy out? She basically went to him and said, hey, I kind of like you and I'd really like to go on a date with you. What do you think about that? Would y'all do that? And I'm going to give y'all my take on it. I am like progressive but old fashioned. Does that go together? Progressive and old fashioned? See, they tell you that's what you say when you want it the way you want it. But it'd be hard for me to initiate something. But I like how cool she did it. She initiated it, but then gave him the ownership to plan the date. So she was like, you tell me when, you tell me where, what you want me to have on, and I will show up. So even though she asked him to take her out on a date, she made the planning of the date his responsibility. So I want to know in the comments, let me know in the comments how y'all feel about that. Would you do that? Would you ask a guy out? Or how far would you go in hinting that you are interested? I remember reading this one book, and the lady was talking about how you could ask a guy out without asking a guy out. And one of the things she said was, one of the lines she said that women that are old-fashioned should use is, if you're interested in a guy and you'd like to go out with him, this is what you should say to him. I wonder why guys like you never ask girls like me out, and then see where he goes with it. Or, I wish someone like you would ask someone like me out, or would want to date someone like me. You're such a great guy, and I would love to spend time getting to know someone just like you. Hint, hint. So y'all tell me, do you think you could do that? Like if you couldn't do the winter and you couldn't do the straightforward asking someone out, could you do the hinting to ask someone out? Let me know how y'all feel about that. I don't even know if I could do that. I might do some other stuff, some nonverbal cues or whatever, but that whole like actually saying it out of my mouth to you, yeah, I don't know about that. But that was interesting. And so let me know how y'all feel about that. And they had a really, really cute date. He is an exotic, I think, an exotic car dealer. And so he had this nice little truck, and they're sitting in the bed of the truck, and they're asking each other these really, really important questions. You know, how do you handle failure? The kinds of things that you would want to know from someone. So they asked some really, really good questions, and it seems like they made a little connection on the back of this truck. And so now I think the tide is turning for Rasheed, because in his mind, Adriana was it. But now women are coming to him, saying, I'm interested, and can we get to know each other? So let me know how you all feel about Rasheed's change or turn of events, because then he goes on a date with Alex. Oh, y'all remember Alex is like not feeling Brian no more, because Brian, yeah, she's rethinking. That's what she said. She's rethinking and processing how she feels about Brian, because remember, Brian is the one. Hey, Lakiria, thanks for joining. Brian is the one that says, how does he say it? He's dating or really, really interested in Alex, but he goes to Alicia's room, who is now eliminated, and he has a date with her. Alicia is really, really feeling Brian, and she says to him, hey, you want to come back, to watch movies? And he says yes, goes to see Alex, but never returns to see Alicia, and everybody finds out that that's what he did. And so everybody's looking at Brian like he's a little shady, because, hey, you lied to this young lady. You told her you were coming back. You didn't come back, and then you left her room and went to see the girl you really liked, which is Alex. But Alex is wondering, is that character? Does that say something about your character because you did her like that? Would I be next? Do I really like you like that? Because her friend said, he seems like a nice guy, but I don't think you really like him. There's something that's holding you back. And so Alex is trying to figure out if she really likes him. And did y'all see the part where in the show, Alex is telling Brian, who I don't have on the screen, why it takes her a long time to warm up to people. She talks about being in an abusive relationship with a young man for 3 years, and why she is so reserved, and it takes her a minute to warm up to people. And he totally blew over that. And for me, that was like, okay, she's taking this moment to pour her heart out to you, and you just gloss over it and dismiss it. That says something about you. And she picks up on that, and she said, oh, he doesn't listen. He only talks. He doesn't talk. He doesn't listen to hear what I'm saying. He listens just to respond and say what he wants to say. And so she's rethinking that entire thing. And so now she's dating Rasheed, the heavens have just opened up for Rasheed, and he has options that he did not have before. And so let's move on to our next couple, Joy and Edwin. Joy and Edwin. Now, I really, really like Joy. She is just a bundle of energy. She is fun. She's lighthearted, but you can tell she's smart. She's business minded. And a lot of the guys like Joy. And Edwin is one of those guys. Now, if you remember last week, and no, I'm going to hold that till later. We'll talk about that later. So Joy and Edwin go on this date that Edwin sets up for her. They're doing yoga, tantric yoga. Yeah, I'm going to let y'all look that up. So they're doing yoga, and they're getting to know each other. And so during this yoga session, Joy feels like she's connecting with Edwin in a way that she hasn't before. She's kind of liked him, but still kind of saw him as a friend. But now she sees the romantic side of Edwin, and so she's feeling him a little bit better. And even though she's feeling him a little bit better, something in me tells me Joy doesn't really like Edwin like that. She's hanging out with him, and she's getting to know him, but for some reason I don't think Joy's really attracted to Edwin like that. Now, that it could just be me. Y'all let me know. Tell me how y'all feel about it. I think Edwin's a good guy. I think he's kind of like been sidelined, almost like Anthony, but not as much. I think he's just a really nice, everyday guy that a lot of times gets sidelined by women. And I think she's trying not, that's a better way. I think she's trying not to friend zone Edwin because he is such a nice guy. I think she's trying to like him, but I don't know if she does. And so maybe she, I don't know. I don't know. I think, excuse me, I think they would make a good couple, but I don't think they're gonna make it. So let me know how you feel about them as a couple. Let me know if you think that they would make it. And now to the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room. Naya and Edwin. Naya, Naya, Naya. Naya, Naya, Naya. If y'all remember, Naya threw Chris like under 7,000 buses on last week. I mean, threw him in the buses. Even nephew Tommy said she cut him to the white meat. She was ruthless week before last. I mean, I felt bad for Chris. I wanted to like say a few prayers for Chris because he was broke. He was broken the way she did him because of her concept of how marriage should be, who financially, who should take care of everything financially. Not that she wanted to have a discussion about it, not that let's work through it, let's see, but just like, okay, you think differently than me, then you're gone. And she just like, he was done. So then she goes to Edwin and asks him, how do you think, finances should be handled in marriage? And Edwin gives her what she wants to hear. Oh, I think the man should handle the finances. The woman shouldn't have to worry about that. Anything with the household, the man should. And so she was on cloud nine because that's what Naya wanted to hear. But she doesn't know, like, just like women talk to women about men, men talk to men about women. And so the brothers told Edwin everything. Let me tell you what happened with Chris. And so now Edwin's kind of like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Because how would that make you feel if someone, Naya and Chris were day one, they were the first couple recognized in the season. And she was like for him the entire time until he said he wanted to split the mortgage. That after he said he wanted to split the mortgage, Naya wasn't having anything of it, and she didn't. She was how did she say it? She was obliging his interest. She didn't really like Chris. Chris who? I'm obliging his interest in me. Like he didn't even exist, which is why I say now you ruthless. Like that's ruthless. Like nobody wants to be with that kind of ruthless. You have just shown your hand to all the men here that just nobody wants to be treated like that. Nobody wants to feel like they are your wallet. They may have the money, but they don't want to feel like that. They don't want to feel like they are your bank and that is the reason that you are with them. And so it was just awful. And so when it came time for eliminations, there were two women that were on the chopping block. Denise was on the chopping block again, and our wonderful, sweet Naya. And so Jay talks to Denise and he tells her, Calfani's concern about, her being a little jealous, not a little jealous, a lot jealous, and that she had to give him some room to breathe so he could make a decision and that the decision was his and she needed to trust the process, give him time, give him room, give him space. And so he's talking to Denise about that. And then you have Rasheed that's talking to Naya. Now, I have seen a lot of eliminations on different kinds of TV dating shows, reality dating shows, whether that's The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, all of that. And I've seen the drama that happens during some of those rose ceremonies and all of that. But I have never really seen like anything that we saw on last Friday with this elimination. Because what we find out and what everybody knows is that, Jay is talking to Denise and they're going to let Denise stay. So who does that mean is going to be eliminated? Our wonderful, sweet Naya has got to go. Her time has come. but the way she responded to being eliminated was so telling about who she is as a person. Her character showed up during that elimination. Rasheed is trying to be so nice, he's trying to be so kind, and he's trying to, to let her go easy, to let her know, we have decided, the guys have got together and we've decided that you're not ready. She wouldn't even let him finish her sentence. She got up off of that couch and said, "Tell it to the couch," and walked out, started pulling off the mics, started going off. And it was like, for real? For real, Naya? Like, can we go out with some class and some dignity? Can we? And I understand nobody wants to get cut. Nobody wants to be eliminated. Everybody wants love. That's why you're all here. Everybody wants to find a connection. But you're going to go out like that. I mean, you have to remember, even if I'm praying this was just for drama and this is not who she is, because if it is who she is, then the whole world has gotten to see that. But she walked off, saying basically, okay, I'm going to back up a little bit. They're on there, and Rasheed is trying to tell her how Chris was so into her, and how when they were in the rooms talking to nephew Tommy and deliberating over the women, how basically Chris is almost just professing his love for her. And and this is what she says, and I'm not quoting it, but it's real close. He was mesmerized by me. And he was so mesmerized by being around all these beautiful women, and then having snatched, me, one of the top notch ones in the whole group. And in my mind, I'm thinking, for real? Like, you're beautiful. No holds barred. You are beautiful. All of the women are beautiful. But the way you just positioned yourself was like, okay, he snagged the top person here, and then had the nerve to tell me we was gonna be splitting the mortgage. Yes, Mr. Magnificent. It's like, for real? Did you just elevate yourself above all of these beautiful, wonderfully smart women? Like, you, because of the way you look, that your heart can't be broken, that someone can actually not like you, like you couldn't believe that you were eliminated. Like, how dare they eliminate me, was almost her attitude. Because as she was walking out, the producers almost chasing her, saying, hey, come back in and finish the show. She was like, I put people on hold, waiting on me. I got people everywhere just waiting on me. I put my life on hold just to come through, do this process. I got people lined up. And in my mind, I'm thinking, if I have people, men lined up that would like to get to know me, I'm not going on a show called Ready for Love, because love is all here. Why would I go on a show to find love if people are lined up? If men, possible potential men that I am interested in, it'd be different if it was just men that I don't have any interest in, but men that I am interested in are lined up, ready to know me. I don't need Ready for Love. I would go find out who these men are and see if we are compatible, to see if we can, make this work. I would not be on the show. I think she was, and then she said this as she was walking away: y'all not going to embarrass me. And in my mind, I'm thinking, you're embarrassing yourself. You could just walk out and say, this was a wonderful experience. I wish I could have connected with someone. I wish I could have found love. But I know that there is love out there for me somewhere. There is some man that God has ordained just for me. And in his timing, I'll meet them. Because the way she left, there are going to be a lot of people that will not want to even get to know her because of the way she responded. And like I said, I have watched all 3 seasons of Ready for Love, and I have never seen anybody, like, even with the little catty fights that they have in this, decision rooms and everything, I've never seen that. Like, I'm mad because I'm eliminated and all y'all is crazy. all this beauty y'all can't see. So anyway, Naya is gone, and probably not too soon. Initially I was hoping it was Denise, and that's just the truth. I was hoping it was gonna be Denise, but after I saw how Naya cut up, she probably should have been gone a couple of episodes ago. She probably should have been gone last week when she did Chris like that. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. So I'm having a good time actually walking through the show, getting to know all of the cast members and their personalities, seeing how they connect with each other, and trying to figure out in my mind who's going to end up together. Y'all let me know who y'all think is going to end up together. Who do you want to end up together? And I haven't figured that out yet. Even as I've been watching this show, I've been trying to kind of think like, well, who do I think fits together? Who do I think could really, really make a connection for real? Not for TV, not for cameras, but after the lights are, gone off, after we have forgotten about who they are, who do I think would really connect? And I don't even know if I see that in any of the couples that we even talked about, not in their current coupling. Like even I think that Calfani and Adriana are cute together. I don't think they would work. I think Adriana and Rasheed are cute together. I don't think they would work. So I mean, there are so many pairs that I see together that I want to find love. Like I want Joy to find love. I want Simone to find love. Lord, please help us find love. I want them all to find love. Like I'm connecting with the women and I'm like, oh, I want her to find love. I want her to find somebody nice. I want this person to find somebody nice. And the only thing about Denise is I want Denise to get healed first, because I don't know if she's ready to love. I think she has so much hurt in her that she would damage the man that she's attached to. I think she would hurt a relationship that she's in. So I think there's a lot of internal stuff that Denise probably needs to go through. She's a beautiful woman, very smart, very talented, but I think she's got a lot of healing that needs to take place so that she doesn't injure a man that she's in, or just decimate any kind of relationships she's in right now. But I think they're all beautiful women. I think these are all really good, solid guys. I just don't know if they are gonna connect. And so that's what we'll look forward into the next episode on this Friday. I'm really excited about it. And we will be back here on next Tuesday, chopping it up to see what you all thought about that particular episode and how it goes down. If it's anything like this last episode, we're in for another roller coaster ride. I want to see if any of these new connections, because this week it was almost all new connections. I want to see if they last anything, or will people revert back to who they were initially talking to, or if these new connections will actually keep moving on. Well, thank you all so much for joining me. I appreciate it. And if you haven't already checked out my new video on YouTube where I talk about how to actually survive the holiday season as a single person, I want you to check that out. Make sure that you like and subscribe, and that you let somebody know that on Tuesdays at 9 o'clock, we are chopping up Ready to Love live. So we will look forward to seeing you all next week. Hey, and I drop a new video every Saturday, 11 a.m. Make sure you're there so that you can get all the goodness that we have for single Christians. Good night. Have a good one.